They did the unthinkable. After months of speculation, backstage politics, and corporate manipulation, CM Punk and AJ Lee just pulled off the most shocking betrayal in WWE history. Roman Reigns was found unconscious in a parking lot, loaded into an ambulance by the very people we thought we could trust, and now everything you believed about loyalty in WWE has been shattered. You think you know what happened? You think this was just another storyline? Wake up! This goes deeper than anything WWE has ever shown you, and by the end of this video, you'll understand why Vince McMahon's empire is crumbling from the inside out. But first, let me ask you something that's going to make your blood boil. How many times have you watched WWE and felt like you were being lied to? How many times have you seen your favorite superstars get buried by politics while corporate favorites get handed everything on a silver platter? Well, what happened to Roman Reigns last Monday night on Raw wasn't just an attack, it was a message. Picture this: Roman Reigns, the so-called tribal chief, the man WWE has been shoving down our throats for years, lying motionless in the parking lot of the Allstate Arena. Blood trickling from his head, his body twisted at an unnatural angle next to his rental car. Security cameras captured everything, but WWE tried to bury the footage. They didn't want you to see who was really behind this. CM Punk and AJ Lee weren't just good Samaritans who happened to find Roman. They were the orchestrators of his downfall. For months, they've been playing the long game, pretending to support the locker room while secretly planning the most elaborate takedown in wrestling history. Here's what WWE doesn't want you to know: CM Punk never forgave WWE for how they treated him during his first run. Sure, he came back with smiles and handshakes, talking about healing and moving forward. But behind closed doors, he was building an army of disgruntled wrestlers who were tired of being overlooked while Roman Reigns got pushed to the moon. AJ Lee, the former Divas champion who walked away from WWE at the height of her career, didn't just return for nostalgia. She came back for revenge. After years of watching her husband CM Punk get blackballed from the industry, after seeing how WWE treated women's wrestling like a joke during her era, she wanted to send a message that would echo through the halls of Stamford forever. The ambulance footage that WWE tried to suppress shows CM Punk and AJ Lee standing over Roman's unconscious body, not with concern, but with satisfaction. Punk can be seen making a phone call. We now know he was calling his contacts in AEW, setting up Roman's potential defection to the competition. But it gets worse. Our sources inside WWE reveal that this attack wasn't random. Roman Reigns had been investigating backstage corruption, trying to expose how certain wrestlers were getting preferential treatment through family connections and political maneuvering. He was getting too close to the truth about how WWE's booking decisions are really made. Think about it: why would Roman Reigns, the golden boy of WWE, suddenly become a target? Because he was about to expose the real power structure behind the scenes. He had evidence of wrestlers paying for better storylines, of creative decisions being influenced by outside investors, and of talent being silenced when they speak out against the system. CM Punk knew that Roman was becoming a threat to the established order. But instead of going through proper channels, instead of having a man-to-man conversation, he chose violence. He chose to make an example out of the one person who could have actually changed WWE for the better. The most disturbing part? AJ Lee was the mastermind. While everyone focused on CM Punk's return, she was the one pulling the strings from the shadows. Her connections in the women's division, her knowledge of WWE's security protocols, her ability to move around backstage without suspicion, she used everything to set up this elaborate trap. Security footage shows AJ Lee tampering with Roman's rental car hours before the attack. She loosened the lug nuts on his wheels, knowing that when he tried to leave the arena after Raw, he would crash in the parking lot. This wasn't a random assault, it was attempted murder disguised as a wrestling storyline. But here's where it gets even more sinister. The ambulance that CM Punk and AJ Lee called wasn't a real ambulance, it was driven by independent wrestlers who owed Punk favors from his time in AEW. They were planning to transport Roman to an undisclosed location and hold him hostage until he agreed to join their rebellion against WWE management. WWE executives are furious that this information is getting out. They've been trying to spin this as a work, as just another storyline to generate buzz for WrestleMania season. But the truth is, they lost control of their own show. They lost control of their top star. And now they're scrambling to contain the damage before their stock price plummets. Triple H, who's supposed to be running creative, had no idea this was happening. He thought he was booking a simple return angle for CM Punk and AJ Lee, maybe a mixed tag team feud with Roman and his real-life wife. Instead, he enabled the biggest corporate sabotage in sports entertainment history. The medical reports that WWE is hiding show that Roman Reigns suffered a severe concussion, 3 cracked ribs, and internal bleeding from the staged car crash. He's not selling moves in the ring, he's fighting for his career. Doctors are saying he might never wrestle again at the same level, and that's exactly what CM Punk and AJ Lee wanted. You want to know the real reason CM Punk left WWE the first time? It wasn't just about creative differences or his health. He discovered a secret financial arrangement where top stars were required to kick back a percentage of their merchandise sales to keep their main event spots. Roman Reigns was the only one who refused to participate, which is why Punk targeted him specifically. AJ Lee's involvement goes even deeper. During her original run, she was promised storylines and championship reigns that never materialized because she wouldn't play politics with the right people. She watched as less talented performers got opportunities simply because they were willing to compromise their integrity. Coming back to destroy Roman was her way of destroying the entire corrupt system. The ambulance ride itself was a psychological torture session. While Roman drifted in and out of consciousness, CM Punk and AJ Lee took turns explaining how they had manipulated every aspect of his career. They revealed that several of his biggest feuds were sabotaged from within, that wrestlers were paid to make him look weak, and that even some of his championship victories were hollow because the outcomes were predetermined by financial incentives rather than talent. WWE's legal team is working overtime to prevent this story from reaching mainstream media. They've issued cease and desist letters to wrestling journalists, they've threatened to blacklist any performer who speaks about what really happened, and they've even hired private investigators to discredit anyone sharing the real footage online. But the truth always finds a way out. Independent wrestlers who were approached by CM Punk's recruitment team are starting to talk. They're revealing how Punk promised them main event opportunities in a new WWE if they helped him take down the current power structure. This wasn't just about Roman Reigns, it was about a complete corporate takeover. The most shocking revelation? AJ Lee had inside help from current WWE female superstars who were tired of being overshadowed by part-time performers and celebrity guests. Names we can't mention for legal reasons provided her with security codes, backstage layouts, and Roman's personal schedule. This conspiracy goes all the way to the top of the women's division. Social media exploded when fans started connecting the dots. Roman's last Instagram post before the attack was a cryptic message about exposing the truth and not being silenced anymore. He knew something was coming, but he underestimated how far his enemies were willing to go to stop him. WWE's damage control campaign has been pathetic. They're trying to present CM Punk and AJ Lee as heroes who saved Roman's life, but the medical evidence contradicts their narrative. The timing of the ambulance call, the suspicious circumstances of the car crash, and the delayed response from WWE security all point to premeditation. Here's what's going to happen next, and WWE executives are terrified that I'm telling you this: Roman Reigns is going to return, but not as the same person. The head trauma has affected his memory, and he's starting to remember things about WWE's backstage politics that certain people wanted him to forget. His comeback story isn't going to be about overcoming physical injuries, it's going to be about exposing the corruption that nearly killed him. CM Punk and AJ Lee think they won, but they made a critical mistake. By putting Roman in that ambulance, by taking him to that hospital, they gave him access to medical professionals who documented every injury, every suspicious detail, every piece of evidence that contradicts WWE's official story. Roman now has legal grounds to expose everything. The wrestling industry is about to change forever. Independent promotions are already reaching out to Roman with offers that would make him the highest paid wrestler in the world. AEW executives, despite their connection to CM Punk, are horrified by what happened and are considering cutting ties with anyone involved in the conspiracy. The entire landscape of sports entertainment is shifting because of one ambulance ride. But the biggest bombshell is still coming. Our sources indicate that Roman Reigns has been working with federal investigators who are looking into WWE's business practices. The attack on him wasn't just about wrestling politics, it was about silencing a potential witness in a federal case involving tax evasion, labor violations, and corporate fraud. WWE's stock price is already dropping as institutional investors lose confidence in the company's ability to protect its talent and maintain control of its own programming. Advertisers are starting to ask questions about the violent content and the blurred lines between entertainment and reality. The empire that Vince McMahon built is crumbling because CM Punk and AJ Lee couldn't control their egos. The most infuriating part of this entire situation is how WWE is trying to gaslight its own audience. They're telling you that what you saw wasn't real, that the ambulance footage was staged, that Roman Reigns is perfectly fine and will be back next week with a smile on his face. They think you're stupid enough to believe their lies. But you're not stupid. You can see through their corporate propaganda. You know that when a wrestler gets loaded into an ambulance by his supposed friends, when security footage mysteriously disappears, when medical reports get sealed, something sinister is happening behind the scenes. This is why WWE is losing viewers to AEW, to independent promotions, to literally any other form of entertainment. They've forgotten that their audience is intelligent enough to recognize when they're being manipulated. They've forgotten that we watch wrestling because we love the performers, not because we love corporate executives who treat talent like disposable assets. Roman Reigns trusted CM Punk and AJ Lee. He believed they were allies in making WWE a better place for all wrestlers. Instead, they used his trust to orchestrate the most vicious betrayal in the history of the business. They proved that in WWE, nobody can be trusted, everybody has a price, and loyalty means nothing when power is on the line. The ambulance that carried Roman Reigns away from the Allstate Arena wasn't just transporting an injured wrestler, it was carrying away the last shred of integrity that WWE had left. CM Punk and AJ Lee didn't just attack a person, they attacked everything that wrestling fans believed in. WWE will never recover from this. The trust between performers and management is permanently broken. The faith that fans had in storylines being legitimate competition rather than predetermined outcomes based on backstage politics has been shattered. CM Punk and AJ Lee didn't just hurt Roman Reigns, they hurt the entire wrestling industry. But here's what's going to make you absolutely furious: WWE is going to profit from this tragedy. They're going to turn Roman's real injuries into a storyline. They're going to sell merchandise based on his ambulance ride. They're going to make millions of dollars from the very attack that nearly ended his career, and they'll do it while pretending to be the good guys. This is bigger than wrestling. This is about corporate accountability, about protecting workers from workplace violence, about holding people responsible when entertainment crosses the line into actual harm. CM Punk and AJ Lee committed crimes, and WWE is helping them cover it up because it's profitable. The wrestling world will never be the same after what happened in that parking lot. Roman Reigns may have been the victim, but we're all casualties in a war between competing visions of what sports entertainment should be. And right now, the side that believes in violence, betrayal, and corporate manipulation is winning. Don't let them win. Share this video. Spread the truth. Demand answers from WWE about what really happened to Roman Reigns and why they're protecting the people who hurt him. The future of wrestling depends on whether fans like you are willing to hold these companies accountable for their actions. The ambulance doors are closing on the WWE we used to know. The question is, what's going to emerge from the wreckage?